Hello ladies and gents, today I'm going to show you how to create the AI coach that I released about 2 weeks ago. The video that we had going on, if you haven't watched it yet, it's this video here, should pop up somewhere here. Please do watch it. It does show like the general overview of how the whole build will look like. Today we're actually not going to build the whole thing. I'm going to show you how to build the individual pieces and then like the smaller parts together so that you can then put everything in whatever kind of way you want. So the tools that we are looking at are these. So you will need an OpenAI account with at least $10 in it. I think now I'm saying $10 because before there was some kind of deal where you could upload $10 and you'll get something extra. I'm not sure if that's still a thing. Anyway, it won't be wasted. It's $10 anyway. You will find this on the web. Just Google OpenAI, and I'll show you where to get the keys and things like that in a bit. Then you'll need a Slack account, and then I would recommend downloading the phone and then the desktop app. Because on the phone we'll be recording our voice and then sending that info to make.com. Notion is completely free. I sometimes use the web version or the desktop app, so I have it right here. Then I'm making a completely new make.com account. So if you're brand new to this space and you're not sure what's going on in make.com, I'll be also running through a whole new account setup stuff. So it is free for the first 1,000 runs a month, which in most cases is plenty enough. Then you only need to run it on the web, and then you'll go to Vapi, you'll create an account and you get $10 free credit for that. So essentially what we need to do is go step by step and set up all these. I do think the OpenAI bit is a bit self-explanatory, same with Slack. So I highly recommend just setting those accounts up, just log in with your Gmail or whatever, and then go from there. So now I'm assuming you've now done your OpenAI account. So once you've topped up your OpenAI account, you click on this link here, platform OpenAI /API keys. We will create a new key and we'll call this AI coach. Create secret key. I'll copy that. I'm gonna put it on my notes here. Just make sure you save this somewhere just in case we lose it along the way. Click done. You also will need to hook up your new make.com account. You also will need the organizational key, which would be, I think, in your profile. Yeah, so top right, go to my profile where the picture is, go organization, and then grab the organizational ID and also save that. So that's the two things you need to hook it up to make.com. Okay, so just save that and keep it somewhere. So let's close that. We don't need it anymore. So I've actually got Slack already downloaded. So that's right here. And this is my app on my desktop. And I'm just going to create a new channel. Create channel. And say AI coach. And click next. I'm just going to say create. Skip for now. Okay, so that is done. Slack is set up. Next is Notion. So I have an app on my desktop. Or what you can do is you can actually just use the web version. So I've just updated these links that I'm going through. So you got OpenAI. This was the Slack one. This was the Notion one. Just click on the Notion one. It'll take you, if you already have an account, it'll take you to open up a new tab. And then what we'll do is we'll go into our space, go in the private section, click add page, and we'll call this AI coach. And at the moment, that's all we have to do in Notion. And actually, while we are still in Notion, let's set up our integrations part. So what we need to do is click on the top right here, and then click on the three dots. Go here, go connect to, manage connections. Yeah, so then you'll go into my connections and find the thing that says develop or manage integrations right here. And it will take you to this link, which I might actually give you guys in the Figma board as well. So you can also click on that and it'll take you here where I am now. So in the integrations part, what you'll need then is to click on new integration, and let's call the integration name AI Coach, and associated with whatever your like account name is. So just internal. We'll skip the logo, configure integrations, and I usually just click on everything and leave that as is. Then what we need to do is we need to click and copy our key. And I'm also saving this on my other screen. Basically what we'll do is we'll integrate everything in make.com in a sec. So we've got that. We've got so far we have the OpenAI key, we have the organizational key, and we so far have the Notion key. And then let's click on save here. And we can go back. You'll see our AI Coach integration is now finished within this section. And now we've got to go back to the page we created a second ago, the one that's called AI Coach. So we'll come back into here. Now, whilst you're here, if you notice, we'll click on the three dots at the top, go connect to, and then what you can do is you can now search for AI Coach 1. Maybe I had 2 of these created. Maybe that's why. Yeah, okay. So I made one a second ago called AI Coach. So just select the one that we just created. So for you, it'll just be AI Coach. And for me, it's AI Coach 1. So if you know this worked because now in the connections, it has this selected. So now that we can close the integrations, we keep the Notion page, we're here. Now we've got to go to make.com. Here it is. We are now in make.com. And I've literally just created a new account. I haven't touched this one before. So as you guys see, we have in the dashboard, we have 1,000 free runs we can use before this runs out, or we can have 2 active scenarios open. So I also have no connections here whatsoever. So we're starting everything from scratch. Close the beginning stuff. And the few tools that we need. So we need OpenAI, create a chat completion node, and then we're going to click on create a completion. And this is now where we'll need our keys. I recommend naming it something nice. So Henrik's OpenAI. And then this is where we paste our OpenAI keys. Now I'm going to be deleting all this after, so don't bother copying any of it. And then once you've pasted in the OpenAI key and the organization ID, just click save. And this will create a connection between OpenAI and make.com. And now you'll know it worked when you can now select all the different options. And for many is here now too. Cool. So I'll click on that straight away. And for the messages, let's just create system and then just put anything in here for now, and then 256. And then press OK. All right. So the next node we'll need to create is we'll need these Slack, right? So let's find Slack, come into here. At the moment, it doesn't matter which Slack node we pick. Let's just pick any. So I'm just going to click on get a user. And the only point of this is just to create the connection, right? So my Slack user connection, I'm just going to call this Coach Slack. And click on save, and you'll get a pop-up. I just need to sign into my workspace. Cool. So now I just went through a bunch of stuff to sign into my Gmail account where this Slack account was created, and now Slack connection is now created, right? So just put any letter in here just as a filler. Again, we are just creating the connections for now. Next, we'll need the Notion. And the thing that we use the most is the search objects one. Okay, and now the keys that we needed is, we'll now make this internal. I think that's what we picked before for our connection. And this is the key that we created before. So I'm just copying and pasting that from what we got before from our Notion setup. Click on save. And at the moment, there are no databases in that page, right? So what we need to do is, while we're here creating the Notion connection, let's also create our database in Notion. So let's go back into Notion. And in here, what you can do, you can type in /database. And then click on inline. You'll get a whole table here, and let's call this one the goals table. And for now, I'm not going to touch anything else in here. What we'll do is we'll click on the triple dots here where this table is. I go here and then copy link to view. So I'll click on that and then just paste it underneath this. And the thing that you need from this link, is from this first slash to the question mark. So you copy that, and then we come back into make.com, and then we paste that in. And now we can see that there is something here. So let's press OK. And I'm actually curious to test it. So what I'm going to do is actually going to go back. I'm just going to type whatever in here. And then what I'm going to do is just create a new heading, and let's call this something else. Let's call this, because we'll need this later anyway. So let's go type date. Move that to be the first one actually. And I'm going to edit property and then just set it up a little bit. Date format, and I like day, month, year. So I'm going to keep it like that. That's fine. And then let's click on here. I'm going to change this onto goal status. So you can mess around with that a bit later. So I also just created a couple columns in here. You do this by clicking on plus. And then, for example, if you just type in goal 2, and then just select that, it creates this, and you can like left click on it and then drag, and it creates those. So we'll just have goal 1 and 2. That's all we'll have for now. And then goal status, and then this thing here we actually don't need. So we'll only be searching by the date most of the time. So I just have that off on the far side. And yeah, I just clicked into it accidentally. So you can just go back by clicking on that here. And yeah, the thing that you want is so I'm just like left clicking and then dragging just before the dash and after that. And if you jump back into make.com, you paste that into here. You might have to click on refresh. And then the drop downs will come down. So just for the sake of just showing you, you can like click on this and then click on the drop down right here, say equals, and then say we had a thing there called name. So let's see if it finds that. Run this module only. So I just right clicked on that, click on the little bubble, and we get one bundle or one like row of information. If you go in the properties, you can see all the things that were in here. So the 7th, the 22nd of this month, and then the goal status and all the other things we had in that table. Cool. So that's like the main part of Notion setup, right? So the next thing to set up was so we've done OpenAI, we've done Slack, we've done Notion setup. Now we are in make.com, so we don't have to do anything crazy here. But we actually will need to set up our Vapi account with our make.com account, because now we have things called tools. So if you want, you can also watch my tools video. It should pop up right now as well somewhere, just to help you. I'm going to run through it a bit more quick on this one. So I'm right now in a completely brand new Vapi account. I haven't touched it yet. It's just my like throwaway email. There's nothing in here, even nothing I've set up before. So I'm in the same point as you. If you're just starting out. In the assistance, I've also got nothing. But the first thing what we'll do is we'll go to settings. We'll go to provider credentials, come into here, make.com providers, and then let's flick back and forth between our make.com account. So save this. So this is our like main setup for all of our stuff. So I'm just gonna click on save there, and then click on our profile at the bottom. Go profile. And on my zone, EU2, let's go back into here, EU2, my API key, click on this tab right here, go API, click on add token, I'll call it Vapi, select all, click save, copy this, go back into Vapi, the team ID, click on the team on the left hand side, go variables, select this number here, 621 for me, paste that in, submit. Now you're connected with make.com within Vapi. Cool. So now that part is done. We've done our make.com and Vapi setup. We're all good there. So now that we've done the basic setup, just the connections, the next thing to do is to come into and start our Vapi assistant. So what we then need is this prompt, and you can just come into the left hand side here, click on create assistant. I'm just going to say morning call, create assistant. I created two. Okay, let's delete one then. Get rid of this, paste that prompt in here. I've called him Brookie. Please don't call him Brookie. I like that I've called him Rookie. And then I'm just gonna call him Bobo, because he has an Australian accent. And let's keep that all as is. On publish. And then let's go through all the setup. So Degram, EN, Nova 2, voice, let's keep it at Cartesia, and I think I had it as fucking 11 labs, didn't I haven't tried this voice out, but I think the one I was using in my main setup was the 11 labs one. So I think we had, I'm not sure if all these are loaded yet. Oh, there it is. Brookie documentary. Doesn't sound right. Let me listen to that. Hey, hey.
Wow, someone's really excited.
Yeah, so that was actually the voice I was using in my main setup, and then I would have clicked on V2. So that's what I would have had here. But for testing purposes, because it costs 5 cents less, I'm actually just going to go with the Australian mail here. And then you don't have to click on anything here. Background sound, I'm going to turn off. I'm not actually of the office noises. I do think that these do help us, help Cartesia sort out when to take a pause or not. So I've usually click this on for it. Background denoising is always nice. Functions, we haven't touched this yet, so we'll come back into this later. And call function, leave this. Advanced. I usually probably just lower it to like 20. Max duration, like 5 minutes, somewhere around there. And the server URL, so I'm going to just turn all this off. Except for that, just for the sake of having it there. And we can turn everything else except for end of call report. Now, if you leave all this on and we put the server URL in, it'll like always ping when it does stuff. So you could have like 250 tasks or operations a minute, which is quite a lot. Voicemail message, leave, and call message, say thanks. Thanks, see you, mate. He'll say that. And then go here, other messages. Let me know if there's anything else you need. Yeah, that was cool. After a while. Publish. Cool, that's the general idea of that setup. So that's our general Vapi setup. And now what I think we'll need to do is to set up our make.com scenarios a little bit more so they make more sense. So let's actually start off then with our Slack scenario and see if we can get that working. So let's go back into make.com. Go back into scenarios. So we've got a main setup here. So that was just for the connections. You also could have done it just here, but just for the sake of it. Then we're going to go create new scenario. And the first one we'll do is we'll go Slack and say watch. And we want watch private channel messages. Choose account, the one that we've had before. You might need to reestablish your connection. So just click on anything that comes up. Let's say a limit of 1 and the channel that we want. So I've just recreated my channel, and instead of having the AI coach one that I made before, just remade it as a private one and just called it private calls channel. So yeah, just change that up. And this is where you can choose, if you click on this like little thing here, you can choose how often it runs. So I'm just going to have it run at regular intervals, but we'll go advanced to scheduling, and then let's say you want it to happen between you want it to happen at like 9:05 and then 9:10, let's say. So that will just mean that it runs once. Just gonna click on this, so it runs every day, or whatever you guys want to set here. And then press OK. So then when we turn on scheduling, this will then run by itself, right? So next node is to say, because once we talk to Slack, we then need to get that message. So we need to go get private channel message. And then this will be the timestamp from this one. Then whatever message it finds, then we'll then need to download that file, whatever that file is there. You might need to confirm your connection again. And then go file. And then go files, URL, private download. There it is, that one there. Press OK. And this is where our ChatGPT notes come in handy. So we'll click on this plus, OpenAI, create a chat completion. Actually, no, got it wrong. Go OpenAI, go Whisper, type in Whisper, and you'll get create translation or create a transcription. We want the second one. It automatically selects the download file from the previous node. Just click on number one. And then what we type in here is just create a transcription of the audio file given. The response format is have it in text. Press OK. And then the next node, this is where we have the create a chat completion. And then the model that I'm going to choose is 4 mini. It's actually cheaper than 3.5 from what I heard. I haven't actually double checked. Mark me if I'm wrong. And look, we can put system or user here. Let's just put user. And the prompt that I'm putting in is this. So you can, I'm going to put this into our Slack. So, just back in our Figma board, you'll go to the Slack setup here. You'll just copy this prompt. You might have to change this variable. So let's jump back into make.com. This text then will come out from whatever the output of the previous node is. So you just click on this, and then press OK. And then type in 256 and then press OK. And so what we're actually doing in this prompt is we are instructing it to give goals. I might have to change. Yeah, so we've got 3 goals here. I'm just going to get rid of one. So it suits our setup in. This is frustrating. It'd just be easier just to add another column to make.com, right? In Notion. So you can right click on this and then you can duplicate property and then just name this goal 3. Okay, great. So now that suits our make.com. So now it suits our OpenAI setup here. And then the trick is click on show advanced settings. If you don't click this, you won't get the same result. Temperature, I'm just going to set to 0. Presence pen, let's see, nothing. No, go JSON object here. Cool. So that's that. So once this gets turned into a this output creates a JSON object. Now, JSON object is just a really nice way for computers and us to communicate between each other. So what we need to do after is to just sort of collect each information thing that came out of it. So just go and click on the result here. Or we might have to go into choices and the message we'll see which one's better. And then when here, what we'll do is we'll go the search objects module for Notion. Just going to go back into my Notion page and just grab that. And what we'll do is we'll filter in here by date and then go date equals. So you can scroll down and find date equals. And then this is the formula that you paste in. What this will do is it will search for a date that's a day in front of me. So the idea is that when you make the voice message, it's meant to be for the next morning, so the day ahead. So if it doesn't find the day ahead, then we'll then create one, and then if there is one, we'll update it. So in case you want to redo the voice recording, so paste that in as well, and then go. It's going to add that to. Just going to add that to the Figma file as well. Okay. And then what we do is we create a router, and this one we'll call add next day. And then we'll call this one update the current. So what will happen is when you run this module, is it will come out as what? Oh, okay. So it actually found next day, which is because we actually set it for, so for me, today's the 21st, and we had one. So let's just change it for the 21st here. So for the day that you're currently in. So let's just change that. Let's come back in here. And if we click on module now, it'll come up with 0 bundles. And what we'll do is we want to then run it we then want to run it this way if it is not equal to 0. So it means like there's at least an entry in there. So we'll then run this way. And then in this section, what we want to do is we want to then update the database item. And we need to again paste in the ID. And you get the database item ID from page ID. And I think we have to come in here and select them a bit later. Press OK. But then let's say there is no entry, so then we need to create a new database item. Right, so select from the list, again paste in that ID for that Notion database we have. It's okay. So you actually are required to have something in here. I'll just leave it as 1, just put anything in here. And then the start time will be format add days, and then this. So it'll add on, so it'll put in like a day ahead. For the end time, we don't need anything here. Include time, no. Goal status, nothing. And then here goal 1, 2, 3. We'll put that in a sec. So then I think that's all good to now run actually. So I'm just recording an audio clip on my phone. So one of the goals I want for me is to have to clean my desk and then make some dinner, and then my third goal would be to go for a run. And then just make sure you actually send it in Slack. So now this should now run regardless of what time it is, because we just click on demand. We have an issue. And what I might do here is I'm actually putting a condition where files have to exist for it to actually continue. So it doesn't pick up. So if you just type anything else in, Check for tomorrow. I want to go for a run, clean my desk, and then make some dinner. Those are my 3 goals. And just to run this, I'm gonna actually click on demand just for now, and then press OK, just for testing purposes, and then click run once. Cool. So now that all should have ran, and I should now have a new entry in my Notion. Yeah, silly me. Right, so it won't work yet. Because now what we need to do is come in here into that last node, and for goal 1, select goal 1, for goal 2, select goal 2, for goal 3, select goal 3, press OK, click save. I should run it again. I will also delete everything in my table here. So the first thing that comes through is the new thing. Okay, let's see what happens now. Cool, let's have a look. Cool, so I said go for a run, clean my desk, make some dinner. All right, that's our first interaction done, right? So we are finished with the Slack setup. That's finished. And then let's then create a, let's then actually go create the, let's call the Vapi connection setup. Or actually, let's call it main coach setup. Okay, so the first thing we'll need is a webhook. We'll go custom webhook, create a webhook, and we'll call this coach main. Save, press OK. First thing we'll need is a set multiple variables thing. So in here we'll need to set up a few things. The main ones were the Notion date, add item. Let's create one for, I think we'll need day back. So looking back a day. So -1 just means you're going back a day. And let's just put our assistant IDs into here, assistant ID, and we'll paste that in from Vapi. So come back into Vapi, click at the top here, come back into make.com, and then copy that. And that's, I think, the main things for now. Then we'll set up a router. So I want to go show you guys the basics of how to set up a dynamic assistant. Right, so this is a completely this is one of the biggest ideas and one of the biggest things that you can sell to someone, is that you're going to make a dynamic assistant based on whatever information they want within it. So it can say their name, it can use their phone number, it can use their contact ID, it knows how many properties they wanted. It knows, for example, in this particular case, because we're making a coach, it knows what kind of goals they had set up the day before, right? So again, I said I'm going to give you guys the Lego pieces so you can create your own things. So I'm going to show you that setup now. Essentially what you need is, if you jump into Vapi, click on the bottom left here, go API documentation. And one of the biggest skills you can learn is actually how to read this type of stuff. So I'm happy to teach you how to read all this. If you're not sure, just book a link with me. Yeah. I actually teach people on how to do this sort of stuff. So if you're keen on learning, yeah, just book a call with me, please. And then so in here we'll go get a. What we want to do is we want to get an assistant, right? So what we need for that is we need a make.com module. So click on this, HTTP, and we'll actually pick the make OAuth, make an API key auth request. Create keychain. So this will be Vapi connection. The key is actually your API key from Vapi. So we jump into Vapi, click on here, API keys, copy the ID of your private key, jump back into here, copy that. And in here, we'll type in authorization, click on create. The URL is actually the one that we had a second ago. So it's this get assistant ID from the documentation. You copy this over, jump back into make.com, and now the reason why we created the assistant ID before so that we can reuse it in here also dynamically depending on what happens, right? So now if we press OK, let's copy this ID. We right click on this module only, go assistant ID. We will now get the one that we created, right? So let's actually click on get fast response so we get a better looking response. So we go data, and now we can see the system we made. So the morning call, and then the prompt is in here, right? Great. Next step is we want to make a dynamic assistant. We want to make a dynamic assistant variable. I'll call it dynamic assist. And what we'll do is we'll grab the data from this, press OK. We'll make a JSON module or parse JSON module. And we want to turn this into an array. And we want to turn this into an array because we're going to use an array aggregator. And the array aggregator needs it to be an array for it to be able to use it. So now we click on JSON parse 6. It'll grab whatever information comes back from this, and then press OK. Then what we need to do as well is to transform all that. So to show you how it looks like so far, right? So if we actually unlink this basic trigger, put whatever variable in here so it doesn't throw us a fit, drag this, left click and drag it onto there. Click on demand, press run once. Oh, okay, we'll need to change it to A just for now quickly. So it grabs like all this information in here, right? So it grabs everything from here. Yeah, so silly me, I shouldn't have actually passed this. So click on no, my bad. And then we'll run this again. Show you how this looks like then. So now we get all these cool things that we need for the assistant. So we need its name, its voice, we need the model, we need whether we had the end call function enabled and all that. That's all in here. And then you can just click on them on and off if you want them or not. So now what we need to do is we need to turn all this whole array. We actually need to turn whatever we get from here, we actually need to put it into a JSON format so then we can put it into our last node, which will be a request to make a call. Transform JSON. Transform come to JSON, and then we'll grab the first array in this. And let's see how that looks like now when we run it. Okay, so let's select, you don't need the ID. So you don't need the ID or the org ID, you need the name, the voice, you don't need created or updated. You need the model, end call function, transcriber, client messages, yes, server messages, max duration, background sound, denoising labeled, message plan. Which one was that? Oh, that was a new thing. And message plan. And so click on all those, click OK. Let's run that again just to show you how that looks like. And essentially we'll just grab the first, like this node here, we'll just grab just make sure it grabs anything that's here, that's is underneath this first thing here. Once it does that, we then need to make a HTTP module. And what I might do is actually clone this, bring it to the end. Because we already have the Vapi connection in here, and the only thing we need to change, or a few things we need to change, is to go create a call, copy that, jump back in, and then change it into post, and then see what other things you need. So we need the authorization header, but we don't need this already because we've got the credentials saved up here already. We need the content type. Application/JSON, and then click on body type, go raw, content type, application/JSON, as that's what we assigned it as. And then in here, what we'll need is the assistant. So to look more or less, it will look something like this. And then you grab this whole thing from here. So now the beauty of this is that if you, let's say, come back into Vapi and you want to change your assistant at any point, say you change the first message, you say hello, you add in a knowledge base file, you change the temperature, you click on publish. Now all that will be automatically updated within that scenario. So I'll just show you now, because we just added in the first message and the temperature, right? So now we've got to come back into here, and I think we also got to find out the first message. Oh, okay, cool. So because that's already within the other things. So yeah, from here, it won't work just like this because we're making an outbound call. So what we actually need to set up is a few other things as well. So let me actually bring this into Figma. So I've also made here a Figma file with the thing you need to paste into the last node here. So I've just actually added on a little bit extra stuff. And let me just go through all these. So I'll actually paste that into a JSON editor so you guys can see it a bit better. It doesn't like the double brackets. Yeah, so once we're in here, you can actually click on tree and actually have a look at how this is set up. So for the assistant overrides, So how this works is this top part where it says assistant, this is the whole like assistant JSON. So it's got the prompt, it's got the message, it's got the knowledge, it's got your model, your transcriber, it's got everything in that. So like this is all that you need. And I'll try to make this as like small as possible for you guys, so you don't have to mess around with too much JSON, quotation marks and commas. However, if you want to then change any variables dynamically in your system when you're making an outbound call, this is the setup. So you put in variable values and you put in whatever variable you have in your prompt. So in this case, we had last night's goals in our prompt, if you guys remember. Let me flick back to our Vapi assistant. So we had last night's goals right here. And what it will do is we'll find that variable with the double curly brackets around it in Vapi, and then replace that with whatever you have, whatever info we have from here, right? So say you want to create another variable. Say in this particular case, we wanted to create another one, in this particular case called last day summary. Copy this, come back into here. You have the comma. You go quotation marks, paste that in, go left, semicolon, quotation marks, whatever info. And then because we created an extra JSON line, we then need to do a comma if it's not the last line in this, like within the curly brackets from here to here. Like this object right here, that's one. Notice we also have one for here. It is the, so notice it's a similar setup here, comma, comma, no comma before this, and then, yeah. So what we can do now is we can copy this, and this is the one that I'll paste into Figma. Okay, so it looks the same. Let's go back into our make.com setup, go JSON, click on this, just copy paste it. You get rid of the double quotation marks in this case. It's very important because this transform to JSON already puts the quotation marks around it. All you need to have is the comma right here. And then we'll grab all this info from Notion. And I don't think in this case we actually need the current time, but this is actually how I manage my time in my Vapi assistant. So we don't do it in this particular case, but yeah, I might actually get rid of that for now. We don't need it. So I will also fix that up here. Okay, what we now need is the information from our Vapi assistant. So next what we need to do is we actually go need to buy a number. So I've actually got a Twilio set up and I didn't have this at the start, but now that I think about it, you can do this two ways. To use a number, you can either buy a number, but you need to add a credit card, or you can import from your Twilio account, which is what I'm going to do because I already have that there. And I can't be bothered setting it up twice. And I've actually bought a virtual number so I can use it on, so I can use it with my Skype. If you also do want to set up your Twilio, I've got a whole video on that as well. I should pop it up right now here somewhere as well. I would recommend watching that if you have trouble with setting that up, especially with regulatory bundles. And if you're, say, not in America or in Canada or then that video would be quite helpful. I do recommend though, if you are in the US and you just want to see how this works, I would actually just add the credit card details by number within Vapi. It costs $2 a month and it's so much easier than setting up the whole thing in Twilio, right? So I'm then going that way. I'm just going to go import all my info from there. Just going to call it Vapi test. We'll go from import from Twilio. And there we go. That is now done. So the reason why we needed this is for the sake of having this phone ID here, which is the thing that we need to actually make the outbound call. So now we jump back into Vapi once we've copied that over, and we paste that into here. Customer number is whoever you want to call. In this particular case, in this AI coach, I've set it up so it just calls one person. I'm going to grab my Skype number. This is me, Rick. And I'm just going to actually leave that blank. So in here, you can send in whatever. You can actually put in the person's email as well, and it'll like get tracked throughout the whole conversation. So that's a nice one to have there. We'll fill that in a sec, and then we'll go okay, press save. Let's unlink all this. Let's get rid of our filter we made before, because now it's gone and won't work anymore. And we'll actually need to trigger this webhook in some way. So what I might do as well is go into Postman and just have a way to trigger it, just for now. Since this is an outbound call, we need something in order to create that for us. It doesn't work like an inbound call anymore. It's a bit different setup. So go plus, go post, paste that webhook in, and in here, to be honest, you can just put in test. Doesn't matter what you actually put in here, just as long as it's in this sort of format. Come back in, we'll press run once, go send, and it should call me if I haven't done anything wrong. Custom extension must be longer than or equal to 1 characters. Okay. I'll just put a space here then. Fine. And if you get a call on my Skype.
Rise and shine, goal setter extraordinaire. Let's see what delusions of productivity we're entertaining today.
Cool. Yeah, so that was purely just for testing purposes to see whether it will work. So you guys can see the whole like basic setup of that structure there, and you can rinse and repeat this for the evening call and then the Slack call afterwards. We haven't actually set up the getting the Notion stuff from, so we can put it into the call, right? So let's do that. And I might actually finish the video on that because it's got quite a long one already. So let's just expand this a little bit. Let's just move it over slightly. So we'll then need to add a few nodes here. So we go add module. Then we go search objects. We'll then do the same thing we were doing before. So we just copy paste in the database ID from our Notion. We'll go date, text equals, and then we go Notion date. So what that means is it will find then, because this is will be then trigger the next day. So it has to be equal to whatever we have set up in. So whatever we have set up for the next day. So if it's equal to the 22nd, then it'll work. We'll pick that up. So once we've got this set up in place, then we then go add module, and then text aggregator. Source module is the Notion module, so not number 11. And click on advanced. Separator will be other, and then this is where we sort of map on the goals that we've set up. So how it's going to look like is essentially, we want it to look like this, right? So we want goal 1, and then whatever here, then we want goal 2, and then whatever here, and then we want it to look like this, essentially, right? However, the issue is that this will then create new lines, and because it's creating new lines, what that means is it will then not be a JSON object, and then when we put that into our prompt, it will throw a fit and not work for us. So a new line, if you didn't know, in Python, for example, is written like this with this \n, and then followed by n. So we're gonna use that idea. So what we'll do then is we'll go goal 1, and then find goal 1 here, and then click on text. Oh, it would be this one, plain text. Then go \n. It's gonna bring back the other line, so there's no new line in there. We'll repeat that for goal 2. And then go straight after that, just go \n, bring that back, just press delete, and in my case that's what I pressed, and then goal 2 or goal 3 is then this, and you press OK, and that should be it. Just gonna unlink this and then run this scenario with my webhook setup from before, just to show you guys how that looks like. So we've got 0 bundles, and the reason is it's actually set up for the Notion date, and the Notion date is for today. However, we've pushed our thing day ahead, right? So I actually need to go back here just for testing purposes. I'm actually showing you the whole thing that I had to go through to create this. It took a while. So if you're sticking with me so far, congratulations. So come back here, press send, and now we'll see all the goals here. Now that will be then fed into how we connect these back up. Now these all will be fed into last night's goals. And then we click on, where is it? Where's the stuff from the text aggregator? Okay. So press 1, 2, 3, 4, just so it actually won't call me. Press that, go back, press send. Just so it picks up on the variable. Now I can come in here and actually change it up. So I'm going to come back in between the quotation marks and then press the text. So this is what's going to replace that variable in our call now, and I'm actually going to do a call and show you guys that it's going to work. All right, let's do it. Hello there.
Rise and shine, goal setter extraordinaire. Let's see what delusions of productivity we're entertaining today.
Yo, do you remember my goals from yesterday?
Of course I remember. Let's go through them, shall we? Goal 1, go for a run. Goal 2, go for a run. Goal 3, go for a run. Looks like you're really mixing things up with your goals there. Now, here's a little motivational.
Interesting. I didn't actually see that. I wonder why it came up like that. Is that what we had for our goals? I had come up. Go for a run, clean my desk, and make some dinner. Oh, silly me. I literally clicked on goal 1 for every single one of them. Oops. Goal 2. And then we need to go then click change this and then go goal 2, close that, and go to goal 3 and go plain text. Okay. So I wonder why also. I would also recommend coming in here and changing this because we've probably updated a few times. Click on first message. This should be now updated and it now will talk. It will now talk when it first picks up.
Hello, sir.
Yo, what's up?
Just here to make sure you're sticking to those ambitious goals of yours, viewers. Let's hear am.
What?
Goal 1, go for a run. Goal 2, clean my desk. Goal 3, make some dinner. Now, let's start the day with a bang, or at least a whimper.
Yeah, so it has a go for a run, clean my desk, and make some dinner. Notice it's a dot for some reason, so that's the Cartesia thing, and punctuation and a comma. That'll be interesting. So I think if you might be better to use 11 Labs for this as like the final thing. As I said, we're using Cartesia for testing purposes because it was cheaper, right? Then I think I would go 11 Labs for the final product. Okay, that's your outbound assistant done now. What I might do is show you guys how I had the rest of it set up. This is quite a long video at the moment, and I'm not sure if this is sort of what you guys like or want. If you do like this sort of content, yeah, I would like you to tell me. It gives me a bit more motivation to make this sort of stuff and go into detail a lot more. It does take a lot more time than just like a usual just show kind of video. So yeah, please let me know in the comment section below if you think this is the sort of thing you'd like. But for now, what I might do then is just show you how that would look like in how the rest of the setup looked like. And I'll actually show you each node individually so you have a better idea. So this is my actual setup from before. Now I realized that I probably don't need this node. I don't need this node here. They don't do much. This is actually the similar setup we had, and the only thing I added on for my initial call is I added a created database item. So it would actually create a Notion date for the for that day. So if there wasn't a date, then it will create that day, and there shouldn't be anything there because nothing was created for that day yet. So it will do like a loop all the way through. So what I had going on is I had a few things. So I had the morning call, which is what we just set up then. And I had it set up for like, I actually had it set for time here. So time was this variable here, and it'll read what time it is today. And if the time is, let's say, 08, which is, you run this, this is in, actually let's change this just to hours. If this is, so this isn't 24-hour time. So if this was 8 AM, this would then be 08. That's what that would say. You press OK. And then when we send the webhook over from our other scenario, which I'll show you, this will go along this pathway. It will go towards time. What will then happen is it will go along here and then call using the morning Bobo or Brookie, whatever you want to call your assistant. We also then have the end of call reports come through. So how you set that up is you come into Vapi, you come into your assistant. So you come into your assistant, go into advanced, go server URL, and then this is where you paste in your server URL. And this is where all the end of call reports come through. And what it will do is you'll need to click on message type. So you'll go message type, type this in, and then press OK. And then we'll search for objects in your database. You essentially need that because what will happen is this will create a date, and there will be usually. So essentially I show you the other setup I had. I had a second table. So I had a second table with summaries, and I didn't do anything other crazy from this. Essentially I set up another table, and I had a thing called a briefing call and then one evening call. And I had the summary of that, or the summary prompt from that call gets sent to my briefing call, which is my morning call. And that was sent into here. So that was the briefing call. Then you go message, analysis, and summary, and you send that into here. And then you would do the same and you would set that on time variables. So say like if it was 8 o'clock, this is when you would set that up with. So there'll be 8 o'clock, and then you could have this set up for say 08 because they'll be in the morning, right? So that's that. That's like the summaries. They'll go through this way and then get updated in your Notion document like so. If you have any function calls, and say the function call was to update something like the goal statuses, so we'll call and double check whether the status was like the goals were actually done. You can say completed or in progress. What you have to do first, you have to first search the page for that same date. You come in here and have a function call, which in this case now these days would be actually a tool call. Again, watch my video on that, please. Now you can have another function, so you can have multiple functions here. I have one called set goals. But essentially this one, what it did is it either spat out in progress, completed, or done, or something like that. So that's what that one did. It updated my Notion document like so. Then I did nothing other in my evening scenario really, except for make a second assistant with just different, slightly different prompt and different variables that are held. And this was the no Slack evening. So if they didn't do the voice memo, it will call them and get the voice memo from them. And then, go from there. Okay, and then how was this all tracked? So this was all actually tracked via a timer. And this was a setup where essentially I had a basic trigger that was set up on a schedule. So it ran from at 7 a.m. It would then run along here. It would, at 7 a.m., send a webhook to the scenario, our main scenario. So what you would do is you would come into our main scenario, you would go here, copy address, come into here and then paste that into here and just press post. And I've just set it up for type assistant request so that it would follow that route that we set up essentially before. And then I just rinse and repeat that for, basically I just clone this and then just have it run at a different time. So now this should be going to be at say 8 o'clock. This will be the evening one. And this will be the one where it will call then say at 10 o'clock and then search if there are any entries. If there are, then it won't do anything, but if there are no entries, then it would actually create a database item for the next day and then make a request for that and then update the assistant, update the Notion base that way. Cool, so that's like a rough rough idea of how to set up the end integration. Yeah, if you're looking to get lessons in learning how to use Vapi or VoiceFlow or Make.com, book a call with me below. If you're a business owner and looking to implement AI voice agent, maybe replace your own receptionist, who knows? Yeah, you're welcome to book a discovery call with me and see what we can come up with. Thanks for watching this, ladies and gents, and hopefully it brought you some value. I am not providing any Make.com templates. I am here to teach you and how to do this by yourself, so that instead of just copying and pasting something and not knowing how it works, you should have come away from this video with a deeper knowledge of actually knowing how to handle these modules. If something goes wrong, you know how to fix it. All right. Thanks for watching, ladies and gents, and signing out. Peace.